Go.
Hello everyone, this is Jason Talbot, handler of Jason Talbot, David Talking, and about 20 journeymen and jobbers in the MWA. I'm here today with Fiona Ling, handler of Casey Knight, and I guess we're going to talk about the MWA Hall of Fame and Awards show.
Wait. Did you just diss Josh Reed? Because I'm not writing for Casey
Okay,
right now.
well, yes, well, okay. How could we forget the great Josh Reed?
Thank you.
The guy gives so many inspirational speeches. It's my life.
Oh, sorry,
And from-
carry on. I didn't mean to mess up your little intro there.
That's cool, and from what I gather, CJ Osborne on his personal Facebook is quoting quite a lot of Josh Reed. So, there you go. you have a fan, I guess.
Yes.
So, how you doing anyway?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Right, so shall we jump in here and go to our first category?
Okay, what's the first category?
The first category I have in front of me is Wrestler of the Year. So, nominations.
The big one.
Yeah, big one. We have obviously Wrestler of the Year. Steve Pynix is obviously the top nomination, or he's top of the list anyway on my screen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's no indication whether he will win or not.
I think that's just an order of people nominating. But
Yeah.
let's be honest, I don't know who.
I'm just bringing up a file here. Some people might be interested to know this. I recently went through the MWA show by show and compiled match records. I suppose it'll be released soon enough, but Steve Pynix was in 16 matches throughout 2011. He had one draw, no contest. That was the interpromotional match. He had 2 losses and 13 wins. You know, that is, even by MWA standards, that is top notch.
Yeah, he lost to Glory Braddock, Rising Suns
Yes,
last year, and he lost to Nanamoto, which was he was champion then, I believe, and then it was a non-title match.
yes, that's right. So as Pynix he's held the championship for most of this year.
Yeah.
So he has, obviously.
Since what, Revelations, I think it was?
Yeah, that's a long time.
Which is April-ish, March.
The thing about Steve Pynix is this is not new for Steve Pynix. A few years ago, when he was teaming with Concussion, I think I pronounced that right.
I have no idea how to pronounce that.
He was teaming with Kutch. Twist and Sadistic went on a 7-8 month run as tag team champions.
Yeah.
And I think they actually only lost they didn't actually.
No, they didn't lose. They had to vacate because Pynix won the world title.
Yeah.
That was the reason.
So obviously Steve has done this before, so it's not like a one-off. You know, he has done this before. He showed himself to be great.
The man to be. He tends to be since I've been in the MWA. He's always seemed to have been the man that you have to go up against.
Speaking of Condor, I'll keep this out of character today. One of my inspirations has been to beat Steve Pynix, and me and Steve had a match middle of this year.
Yeah.
And a brutal match now, and I think it was maybe the best effort I could put forth, and still lost. I don't think I've actually ever beaten Pynix in tag or singles competition.
I do remember that being a close match. Do you remember what you did for your roleplay?
I kind of was a wee bit apologetic in it because the first time I faced Pynix 1-on-1, I kind of mocked Pynix's dead brother.
I remember that, yes.
Pynix's brother would be looking up from him in hell and thinking, what kind of brother do I have?
Yeah. You don't really want to say that and live because Pynix will kill you.
After that match, Pynix did lay a beat down in Talbot.
I remember.
Anyway, moving on, we have bringing back bad memories. Moving on, the next one is Roy Paddock. or as I call her, Casey clone.
Well, she had. I mean, she had a good year. Obviously, starting with beating Pinex.
Yeah,
That was an upset.
yeah, I suppose it was. Glory's, this is her second spell in MWA, isn't it?
Yeah, she came in briefly, like a year or so before. She was only
Yeah,
around for a couple of weeks, and then Matt got busy, I believe.
yeah. Yeah, I've actually faced Glory Braddock quite a few times, just not in MWA. One thing I will say about Glory Braddock, when Matt role plays as her, he really does role play to win. You know,
Oh yeah.
some of his other characters, Matthew Bowden, are there for support,
Mhm.
and Matt, I know Matt, he does want to win, but I think he cares less about winning with Matthew Bowden or Marie Annabelle Jones than he does. You know, Glory Braddock is the main one for him now.
Me
So,
personally, I prefer Glory when she's a face. I think
yes,
he writes his best stuff when Glory is face Glory, looking for redemption or that kind of stuff. That's when I really enjoy the crap
let's,
out of Glory Braddock.
let's face it, she does have quite a lot of redemption to try and gain
Yeah.
when she became a face. So that's an interesting one for Wrestler of the Year. Her record this year was 10 fights, 6 wins, 4 losses. And the next one we're talking about was probably the best self-promoter in e-betting ever, the Golden Eagle Jack Gabriel. What can you say
Golden
about
Eagle.
Golden Eagle? What can you say about him?
Anyone who hasn't listened to Gaither talk about himself
Yeah,
is missing out because I've never met anybody who lives their character as much as this
yes,
guy. And it's not a bad thing. I think I enjoy it. I enjoy him
yeah,
talking about Jack Gaither as if he was a real flesh and blood person.
that is good. And now, the Jack Gaither official Twitter, as you might have seen, has said Jack Gaither is going to be returning to the MWA in
Hmm.
2012. That's going to be pretty good. You know, that's going to be another top tier wrestler in the MWA.
And let's be honest, he's the only real face we've had this year.
Yeah, that's true. There's been quite a lot of heels, quite a lot of cleaners, very little faces.
He's a very traditional character in that he loves the fans and will talk how awesome the fans are, and he does
Yeah,
the really old babyface stuff that a lot of people don't do anymore because they don't think it's the
yeah,
cool thing to do.
yeah. What I noticed about Jack Gaither now, not many writers do this in their role plays anymore. Jack Gaither, he sticks close to his roots. So he does, you know, how the character was brought up and how the character was trained. And he keeps going back to that.
Mm.
Which not many do anymore. So,
Yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah. But there's one thing you have to say about Jack Gaither, as good as he is, how the hell did he lose to Jason Wright?
It was a no-show, so we'll cut him some slack.
Yeah, that's true, but congratulations, Jason Wright. You have win over a top tier star.
So Gaither won the Heritage title.
Yes.
Who did he beat? I'm trying to remember now.
I'm trying to remember as
I
well.
think it was Nanamoto, actually. I had it written down here.
I'll bring it up here on the MWA website.
Oh yeah, I should have updated the title.
Yeah.
I think they're relatively up to date.
Heritage. Oh, no, I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah, he beat Nanamoto on the Battle Zone on 1st of February. They had
Yes.
they had a match at Rising Suns where Nana beat him, and then in the rematch, Jack got in and won.
Yeah, he ended up losing 4th of April to Vivian Storm.
Yep.
And see where are we? That actually brings us to our next person for Wrestler of the Year, Vivian Storm.
I like Vivian.
I do too. You know, I remember Vivian when she first entered the MWA. She was the face of Skype.
Yes, yep.
You know, and she was just a mouthpiece back then.
A mouthy mouthpiece.
Yeah, because I remember her coming to Casey Knight and demanding Skype being the team.
Yeah, in Helmuth, I remember. Yep.
And at the time, you know, I never actually fought Skype with Steve Pynix, and
That was well done.
That was a well-kept secret.
Mm-hmm.
But, from that original debut of Vivian Storm, the character had really progressed and become a character in herself away from Steve Phoenix.
Yeah.
So,
I was kind of worried that, because to begin with, a lot of people were comparing her to Sierra with the whole attitude, and I was kind of worried she might get stuck in that box, but she's definitely grown and become much more than just another character on the roster. She was a big part of the MWA, especially in the early year.
Yeah. She was world champion as well at one stage, wasn't she?
That was last year.
Oh, last year. Okay.
But yeah, the end of last year.
She was Heritage champion.
Yep.
So, which she ended up losing to you, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a great series of matches.
Yeah, it was hard to keep going up against Brando. I mean, it's hard enough when you have to face someone like that one time, but when you have to face them multiple times, it's you have to keep up in your game, and it keeps you on your toes at least, I suppose. But
one thing I found, even in Steve Panick's role plays or Vivian Storm role plays, the two characters, the connection between Vivian and Steve is maybe one of the most natural connections I've ever seen in role plays.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
It just flows so well, and she's got a great way of actually drawing you into the role play and actually seeing through the character's eyes.
My best thing about Vivian Storm is that she will call Pinex on all his bullshit.
Which at times can be a lot. In character, of course.
Oh yeah, in character. Everyone loves Steve in real life. But, because Pinex, I mean, I love Pinex the character, but sometimes the stuff he says can be, a bit out there. And like, Vivian's always the first one to call him on his shit. And she's definitely made him stronger in character as well.
Yeah.
They kind of feed off each other, and that's very... This is like the best example of two people, when you work together, this is what you can achieve.
Yeah. I think that's more, well, not more, because it's a lot down to Steve and MJ are really, really old school MWA.
Oh, yeah.
They've been here for so long, they know each other well, so they can connect better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yes, you saying about calling Steve on the bullshit. But going back to Steve quickly, what I noticed was when Steve in character put this $250,000 reward on somebody to beat him, the entire MWA roster called bullshit on that.
Yeah, I did. Like the battle zone after, everyone and their mother was talking about how crap that was. Like Talbot, you cut a promo, Carolyn Baker cut a promo. Who else was it? Maximum Violence.
I went into that. I did a promo slating Steve for that, and I thought, I don't think many others will. And then when I read battles, and I was like, whoa, everybody's doing this now. Everybody's got the same idea.
I think. Oh, carry on. Sorry.
Now, that actually is a good thing, because it's showing the whole MWA standing up to Steve Phoenix as well, which in turn creates a bit of a story as well.
Yeah, I also think that it's an example of how, because the MWA, let's be honest, it got really weak, and there was a point where we were all worried for what was going to happen. Like, we barely had any people role playing or anything like that. But I think it's kind of an example of people wanting to become the world champion instead of sitting back and being like, oh, we can never beat Steve Pinex, blah, 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 he's so good, rah, rah, rah. Yeah. People thinking, no, I can do this, so I am going to challenge him. And I like that a lot. Everybody having the same kind of belief.
Go back to Vivian. Even when Steve and Vivian fought, they were in that four-way together. Steve,
Gaithier,
and Glory. Even then, Vivian, although being close to Steve Panic, still wanted to beat Steve Panic.
Yeah, I love that.
That was brilliant. So we'll move on and we'll talk about Rihanna Lynn. Their character.
Yes.
Yeah, she had quite a good year. She had MWA Heritage Champion beating Vivian Storm.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we've already touched. They had a great series of matches together. How did you find writing as Brianna Lynn?
Um, I enjoyed it. My biggest worry was that she was gonna devolve into basically Casey,
Yeah,
because I've written quite a few characters, but the only female I've ever done is Casey. So
yeah,
that was my biggest worry, but people I spoke to seemed to think that that didn't happen. So that was
yeah.
I'm happy
There's
with that.
I know Brianna and Casey do have the connection. Obviously through Brianna's dad.
Yeah.
There's still a sense of individuality. And thinking back to Brianna, the role play I loved the best of Brianna this year was where she was dreaming and that she was dead and Casey Knight was there.
I believe that was my first match against Vivian.
Yeah, that is one that really sticks in mind for me this year.
Yeah, I did enjoy writing that roleplay.
Yeah. But Brianna's record, I'll just bring it up here if I can find
I
her.
think it's 5 wins, something like
5 wins, two losses and 1 draw. And actually, not a lot of people will remember this, but
that.
that 1 draw was against me.
Yeah, I remember.
That was Jason Talbot's first match back in the MWA.
Oh, it was your first, was it?
That was
Oh,
my turn, yes.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Her two losses are to Steve Pinex.
Both were the Panics.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
well,
forgot that I had 2 matches against him. But yeah, in Pinex, we used Pinex to give her a concussion at the end when I couldn't roleplay anymore.
yes, so if it wasn't for Steve Panics, you would have gone through the year undefeated.
Damn you, Steve.
Yeah. And so, lastly on the list of Wrestler of the Year is somebody who I didn't actually think about until I went back and looked through the MWA 2011 shows. Nanamoto.
She's been quietly dominating people.
Yes, she has. Now, I actually believe I had a match for Nanamoto, and I think it was either a draw or I beat her, and it was a very. I have 2 draws, and I'm almost sure the second draw was against Nanamoto as well. It was, but she. No, well, Kevin writes as Nanamoto, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Which started off with the Nana versus Benedict loser leaves MWA. And truthfully, I actually thought Benedict was the one who was going to stay, and Nana would have been leaving the MWA.
Mm.
And that's just my personal opinion. And it was a bit of a shock whenever I seen Nanamoto won. But Kevin has really, risen up, kept quiet, just gone about his business, and there you have Nanamoto, now #1 contender for the MWA title at Rising Suns after winning the tournament.
Well, to put it in perspective, Kevin's beaten Steve Pinex and he's beaten Glory Braddock. And
Yeah,
he's beaten Jack Gaither. I don't know. I don't remember having Brianna wrestle Nana. And I don't remember if he wrestled Vivian. I'm sure he probably did, but
Nana has been impressive, very impressive, and I actually think there's a case for Nana to win Wrestler of the Year this year.
you could make a case for any of these nominations.
Yeah, that's true. I'm saying that Nanamoto's record is 11 matches, 8 wins, 3 losses, and that's actually the second highest win ratio in the MWA this year.
Yep.
So,
And I don't think Kevin has wrestled throughout the whole year. I think he took a little break and then came back again.
So, that could have actually easily, if Kevin had been there the full year, could easily have been more.
Mm.
But I definitely think Nanamoto and Kevin deserve the #1 contendership
Yeah.
at Rising Suns, and that is going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah, it is.
It is, Kevin's really going to bring it to Steve. So it'll be an interesting one to see how that goes down, but yeah, let's move on to match of the year then. There's quite a few here. Sean Baker versus Damien Snow from 21st.
Just looking at them, I see a bunch of Steve Pinex matches.
Yes. The World Championship match, Glory Braddock versus Jack Gaither versus Vivian.
I think that's one should win.
That one that's easily will be one of the tops. We've then got Brianna Lee against Vivian Storm. That was a great match as well.
Yeah.
So it was with Steve Pynix versus Jason Talbot. Another Vivian Storm, Brianna Lee, and then we've got Steve Pynix versus Brianna Lee, Steve Pynix versus Brittany Lohan, Steve Pynix versus Joey Braddock with special guest Sierra, Steve Pynix versus Kevin Hardaway. My goodness, Steve Pynix. He's well talked about this year.
Well, it helps that he's the world champion, I suppose. But the Steve Pynix versus Brittany Lohan one was pretty good. If I remember rightly, he dropped on her head like multiple times with one of his finishing moves. I forget the name of it. He's not going to be happy, but because the battle zone before, she attacked him with a chair. Do you remember?
Right. Yes.
He was like, "Oh, I'm not Glory's mouthpiece or whatever." But that was really good. That little mini feud they had, I enjoyed.
That was actually a real holy shit moment because, no disrespect to, who was it? That was Matt's friend who was Brittany Lohan. Randy. Brittany Lohan was kind of a low to mid card wrestler, and for her to come out and hit Steve Pynix with a chair, that was a real holy shit moment.
And you don't often get people attacking Steve Pynix. Like, outright attacking him like that.
Yeah. That was good to see. No offense, Steve.
Yeah, it was good to see. I think everyone enjoys it when Pynix gets a little bit of a taste of his own medicine, because he likes to attack people as well, like after matches sometimes.
Yeah. The World Championship match at Old School Anarchy with Sierra Deverox, I could never pronounce her name. Sorry, Sierra. That was actually good, but the one thing that sticks in mind for me at that match is not the match itself, but the ending of the match, where Sierra didn't want to give the belt back to Steve. Even to this day, Sierra whispered something to Steve, and was it ever revealed what Sierra said to Steve?
No.
Oh, I want to know what that was, because that would be interesting.
Yeah. So I bet it's just something like, "You're just keeping this warm for me," or something like that.
I would love to see Sierra return. I'd love to see of the old guard return. But the last one would be Steve Pynix versus Kevin Hardaway, and that in itself, being an interpromotional match, gave the NWA a lot of outside attention.
Kevin Hardaway, he came in and he actually really impressed me. I was quite...
He came in very humble. He didn't come in as champion elsewhere, blah, blah, blah. He came in and went about his business pretty well. He
mixed well with the rest of us. He didn't stay away. He did well promoting his.
Yeah, and even to this day, he still puts about the board, and maybe 2012 we can see a bit more of Kevin Hardaway in the MWA.
That was good.
Just very interpromotional. And then I'm just looking, Brianna Lee herself has been nominated a couple of times for Match of the Year. Which one of those would you pick? If it was...
Probably their first matchup.
Yeah, against Vivian.
With all the hype, against Vivian.
Yeah. Well, we now have Feud of the Year. First of all, the one on everybody's lips would be Steve Pynix versus Joey Braddock.
Yes.
Yes. That was a great rivalry.
That was Glory saying how she was still the champion because Steve pin Gaither to win the title in that way.
And she never lost. Well, she lost the belt, but she wasn't the one who lost the match.
Yeah, and to be honest, I personally hate that line. I know Glory was the heel and heels whine, but that didn't win me over. And normally I love the heels, but that line of thinking didn't really win me over, to be honest.
That goes back to you saying you preferred Glory Braddock as a face.
As a face, yeah. I'm definitely a fan of Glory face. Glory heel, not as much. I won't lie. But,
sorry, Matt.
but they did a good job with the... I mean, Glory would come out every show and talk smack about Steve Pynix and about how it was her title. And I did kind of like the go-get-'em mentality she had.
even as a face now, the one thing I've noticed, Joey Braddock, Matt as a writer, contributes quite a lot of segments and stories towards each battle zone.
Yeah.
Even if little interactions backstage or a full-blown in-the-ring promo.
And that's really how you get your character noticed and how you get them ingrained into the show.
Yeah.
I mean, just role-playing is fine and dandy, but it's the segments that really help you branch out and pull in other handlers into your stories and things like that.
There's the next feud of the year, Brianna Lane against Vivian Storm. So we've talked about it quite a bit here already. It was good. It was like a one-upmanship type rivalry. Who could get the better of who?
Yeah. And they had a lot of history through Casey Knight. They both hated the crap out of Casey Knight.
Yeah, well, Casey had quite a lot of people who hated it.
Yeah.
So
she kind of acted as a lightning rod between those two, I think, and that just... And for some reason, instead of being like, oh, I hate Casey, you hate Casey, let's be friends, it was like, I hate Casey, so therefore I hate you. It's like, I hate Casey more than you, so that means I'm better than you, things like that. It was good. I enjoy working with Randa whenever I can. She's a fun handler.
Yeah, Casey Knight lives on despite not being in the MWA.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, good to see. So, and the next one, obviously, we've touched on a bit as well. Joey Braddock versus Jack Gafier versus Steve Phoenix versus Vivian Storm. I love the build-up to this match.
Yeah.
It was excellent. So, what else can you say about that? We've already talked about it.
Gaither just won the Heritage title off Nanamoto when Gambino booked this match.
Yes.
And it was just... You didn't really know who was going to win, to be honest, because you had the whole Pinex Storm connection. Like, would they go after each other kind of thing.
Yeah. And I like the fact they did go after each other now. It wasn't like let's team up and take everyone out. It was, I'm going to beat you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty good to see, so it was. But definitely if Jack Gafier returns, hopefully will be returning. I see Jack Gafier going pretty far in the MWA again. The Heritage title's gone now, unfortunately. But I see him giving Steve Phoenix, or maybe even a bit of trouble in 2012.
I agree.
The last of the feud of the year, Gabe Gambino against CJ Osborne. What did you think of this one?
This was actually really well done between the two of them.
What a lot of people mightn't know, a lot of newcomers to the MWA, Gabe Gambino and CJ Osborne have a lot of history, and a lot of that history stems between you and I as well.
Yeah.
And it actually was at Rising Suns 2007. Jason Talbot faced Gabe Gambino. Jason Talbot was representing Casey Knight. And
in a ladder match, wasn't it? Yeah. Ladder for the money or something?
Yes, CJ's briefcase, and Gabe was representing CJ Osborne. I think one of the conditions of that match was if I won, CJ had to apologise to Casey for the past. And was it something if I lost, Casey had to apologise and say she made it up, it was consensual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Talbot didn't let me down.
Yes. Talbot rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing about that feud, it was a storied feud rather than a roleplay feud.
Yes.
Which is interesting because there's not very many of that in the MWA anymore.
No.
So, and saying that, a lot of that whole war between CJ and Gabe was storied.
Yeah, it was segments that pushed that along.
There wasn't any defining Gabe Gambino versus CJ Osborne. Well, they did have a match.
They had a Helmo match at the end, which CJ won, but...
Yeah. There was no Team CJ or Team MWA against Team Gabe. But that feud, it was a feud between Gambino and CJ, but it drew the entire MWA in. Everybody was involved in it.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a candidate there. So it is just for the length of it. It went a good 4 or 5 months, was it?
Yeah, it took up pretty much the beginning of the year.
Yeah. What side was Brianna on? Was she on CJ's side?
She never actually made a commitment. She didn't trust CJ and she didn't trust Gambino. She was one of the few that didn't go either way.
Now, Jason Talbot, I originally had the plan of Jason Talbot staying neutral as well. But whenever it was revealed to be CJ,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, guess who Jason Talbot's going to side with
Yeah,
now?
you can't be neutral, can you, anymore?
No, and then I went with the story that Ryan Tyler and the establishment sided with CJ, and it was a plan from Brian to get Jason Talbot to his side by having his army siding with CJ, and I'm glad. Even though I tried to write Talbot as a face the whole way through it, even though Gabe's side would have been the heel side.
Yeah.
So it was actually a bit of a challenge, I must say, but that feud it did go on for quite a long time. So, next up, fan favourite. First off, Carolyn Baker, who has been a fan favourite for the majority of her MWA career.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but we'll get to that later. But Carolyn Baker, she always had the girl next door mentality of MWA, sorry Carolyn, but Girl Scout type, always good, not a bad word to say about anybody.
Yeah.
And God, I love giving her shit about that. We had a brief feud where Jason Talbot quite a lot took advantage of her good nature. So, just thinking, did Brianna and Carolyn never have a match together?
Yes, but I think Julia couldn't roleplay that week, or she missed the deadline.
That's a shame. Carolyn Baker against Brianna, that would be something interesting to see.
Oh yeah.
But Carolyn always was the fan favourite, and obviously now she's up for most hated as well. So I would say that writing as a heel now for Julia, it'll be a bit of a challenge since she's been faced for so long.
I think she's been doing an excellent job.
Yeah.
Well, we'll cover that in a minute when we get to me.
Yeah, obviously. But Carolyn Baker has always been, when you think of the MWA, sorry, did that come across?
A little bit.
Sorry, for anybody wondering, that was my Avast. I'm the nice lady from Avast telling me my virus database had been updated.
Oh, you could just hear it. I wonder if the recording will pick up. We'll see.
Yeah. But anyway, whenever you think of the women of the MWA, the women that represented the MWA, you always thought of Carolyn Baker, and you always thought of Carolyn Baker as the good girl.
Yes, you did.
Yep. Fan favourite, Jack Gayfair. He definitely was a fan favourite. Now, you said earlier about how he wrote as a fan favourite.
The roller coaster tycoon.
Oh, that was brilliant. If you're listening to this, Greg, which you probably won't, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I can't believe I went out and missed all that.
Yeah. Tab was talking about the whole endorsements. I think Greg made a thread of
you can
different MWA talent endorsing different products.
Yes.
The fun we have sometimes.
Oh, yes. For those who have never joined us on Skype, you're missing out. You missed some absolutely fantastic conversations. And now, fan favourite Jack Gayfair. Gayfair lives that character. He is that character.
Yep.
And he does it so well. And it's just amazing to see somebody that dedicated to their character.
Yeah. I've spoken to him, and apparently he has done Gayfair as a heel, and I just can't imagine.
Oh, I couldn't imagine that. But at the same time, it would be something I would love to see.
Yeah.
So it would. So we bit of a disclaimer: we are in no way trying to shape what way Jack Gayfair is coming back, face or heel. So Jack, that is being, yeah. But he definitely could be a candidate for fan favourite. So, one thing though, Steve Penix isn't listed as fan favourite or most hated.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, maybe one of the only categories he's not in. But another one, fan favourite, Glory Braddock. And we've already said that the whole redemption of Glory Braddock is one of the things that is making Glory good as a fan favourite.
I know that she lost an animator, which is a shame. But I hope Matt does eventually bring her back
Yeah.
because
Well, Matt has stated he's still not sure if he's leaving or not. He's going to see um, what scheduling permits. I know he's going to stick around with lesser characters, but I still think Chloe Braddock is the main character.
yeah,
And
she's
it must have been quite a transition for Matt because he was, what was his character's, Mary Annabelle Jones' mother. I can't think of her name. Even though
Angelica Jones, wasn't it?
Angelica Jones, yes.
And Megan Collins.
Yes,
Richard
yes,
changed. She kept getting married and divorced and all kinds of things. I can never keep up.
I remember actually Jason Talbot and Stephen Talbot faced those two in their GDW debuts, and both characters actually beat both of Matt's characters.
Wow, there you go.
Truth actually beat John Patrick as well in the GDW
Matt,
debut.
other than you, I don't know who has more characters than Matt.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he wrote Steve Powers, he did Matthew Bowden, the Annabelle. He did someone else. I'm trying to remember of the.
He's got a new one as well.
Yeah, he's got that new lady coming. But who was that one he did that had the pick base of what's his face, the high flying guy in the MWA, Morrison.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, and I just can't remember now.
Oh, that's gonna bug me.
That is. Sorry, it wasn't Blake Mason. No, it wasn't.
No.
Blake Mason, no. Going through the list of everybody who's been on the roster in 2011, wasn't Jeff Starks?
No. That was another one of Randy's characters.
Randall Williams. No, that was Randy. Oh, sorry, we should have been more prepared. We apologise for this.
Well, we kind of went on a detour there, didn't we?
That's true. But yeah.
Oh, he also did Cross. I liked him.
Cross was good. The religious nut guy.
Yeah.
Cross, yeah. Cross was good. He was actually Cross. Was 2007, 2008, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a long time ago now, I guess. Jeez.
Yeah. I'm just looking. Cross was actually, it would have been 2008. He won the Bloodlust title actually from CJ Osborne at Raising Suns 2007.
Bloodlust.
Yeah. Some titles gone but not forgotten. The legacy, the Bloodlust title.
Yeah.
So, and we were talking about MJ earlier. Her Mary Jane Griggs actually was the original champion of the Bloodlust.
Yeah, that's right.
But Matt, I don't know what it's a credit to Matt. He's got all these characters and yet he still manages to put out role plays way before deadlines.
The guy's insane. I don't know how he writes so many role plays.
I remember when I was in GDW with Matt and I was writing as the Illuminati, we had this whole Talbot's The Truth, Ryan Tyler and Cambridge went and tried to take over the GDW, and I remember trying to put out 3 role plays every 2 weeks, and I was like, how the hell can I do this for much longer? And Matt does it on a regular basis. He's well committed to e-fatting anyway. Karen Baker, Jack Gaffier and Chloe Braddock for fan favourite. Who would you say would win it?
My pick is Gaffier.
Definitely.
I don't think there's been anyone more fan-friendly than that guy. But I mean, he does have the whole. He didn't stay. He was here for about a quarter of a year, maybe.
Yeah.
So I guess he has that working against him. But
yeah. Now moving on to most hated, Carolyn Baker again. Oh, she's back and she's a bitch.
I wasn't sure how she would be able to write as a heel, but she has got some excellent foundation of truth, basically, because that's the key to every character. If there's truth to what you're saying, even if you take it to the extreme, it's believable and people get engaged in it. And to be fair, she did save everybody on the Voyage of the Damned, and nobody did thank her for it. Everyone was just dealing with their own little piles of crap.
That was over a year ago, and yet it was a year and a half ago now, and even now she's still working the threads of, continuity basically from that,
I am huge for the whole following the storyline.
Yeah.
That is a big thing for me, and that makes me believe in your character. Because if you start jumping around and you start a storyline and then you just abandon it and start another one and abandon it, then I'm not going to be as involved in what you're saying.
I'll give a cheap plug out to the MWA here quickly. MWA, the only wrestling federation that actually does acknowledge what happened more than 6 months ago.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, has been
brilliant. So, I love the girl, and at the same time, she's laid me out many times. I hate the girl.
Yeah.
It's the whole new golf flick for Karen Baker as well. So, I don't know. That's a real personal opinion. Karen Baker redhead, Karen Baker golf. My two favourite type of girls. What's the guy got to do? What's the guy got to do there?
You're terrible.
I know. Sorry, Julia, but Karen Baker is back, and she's back with a vengeance. And for 2012, I can see her breaking out again.
Definitely.
She's always been. I don't know how. This is no offence meant to Julia, but she's always nominated every year for Rising Star. But she already is a star. She is.
Yeah, she has her own little glass ceiling.
Yes, that's actually one. Was the Glass Ceiling Award, or the Glass Ceiling Award is in this year. Karen Baker, Julia, is very committed, and she is one of the most approachable people in the MWA to work with.
She's lovely.
Yeah, she's great. And then we have a good friend of ours, Gabe Gambino, down at Most here.
His heel turn was done really well, I thought.
It was like, I read over that promo a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, the MWA is going to be destroyed, and I'm going to be the one to do it. Something along the lines. I was like, what?
He's another character that has the little kernel of truth into the end, at the center of his story, because he was, I believe he was the Millennium Champion when McBride took him out and destroyed his knee, and
yes,
he always and the thing with Gambino is that he was kind of like Carolyn Baker, that he was always like really close to beating people, but wouldn't quite get over there. So I believe him when he says that he wanted to end the MWA.
Yeah. Gabe and Sean McBride actually had quite a good back and forth, but that was last year, 2010. But the Gabe Gambino character is somebody I've liked since 2007. It would have been, it'd been about 2006, 2007 when Gabe Gambino came into the MWA. And he's actually won the Millennium title on more than one occasion. He beat Carolyn Baker and Ryan Hardy back in 2009.
Yeah.
So it was like, the thing you were saying there, about, they're both talking about, what part of the truth is part. That is actually what always makes a good villain. We actually do feel sympathy for them at the same time, and they do have a just cause. They're not going out to destroy just for destroying. They're going out because of things that have actually happened in the past. So it's both him and Carolyn, very good heel characters, well deserved, most hated. And Dan Devine also, I've added him in today as a nomination for most hated because he was Gabe Gambino's go-to man, really. Gabe never got involved in in-ring action.
Because of his bad knee.
Yes. But Dan Devine was the one who did his dirty work in the early days of that feud, or the MWA versus Gambino feud. So if you remember, Dan Devine was due to face Tim Worthington, and Devine sent him to hospital. And that had Jackie Sweet step up, and it just turned out to a mass brawl. But it is such a shame we could not get Dan Devine on this show today.
I spoke to him briefly yesterday, but he's been busy with all with the holidays and work. But we're gonna, because if there's anyone as entertaining as Jack Gaither It's Dan Devine. That man can talk.
You talk about pipe bombs and wrestling. Dan Devine, oh, he is the CM Punk of the NWA. And again, people, if you've never been on Skype with us, we're on Skype all the time. If you're on Skype and Dan is on, you will be laughing quite a lot.
He's a hilarious guy.
So,
but yeah, I imagine we'd do this again at some point. We'll have to get him on because it would be a classic.
Yeah. So, Rising Star, we've already talked about Nanamoto. She has had a great year, or he. I often do that whenever a male is writing as a female character. But Nanamoto, Rising Star of the Year, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, she has been something else. Yeah. So Rising Star is what newcomer to the ranks of the MWA proves that there be a force to reckon with.
Yeah. I'm just looking through here. Has Nanamoto actually held a title in the MWA?
Yeah, she was Heritage Champion.
Okay. Those records might need updated there then.
Oh, whoops.
Oh no, it's in front of me. She beat another one of your guys, Cole Jenkins.
Yes, good old Cole.
Cole was great.
Cole got grounded for being on the Voyage of the Damned. That's, if anyone's wondering, he's still grounded.
I thought he was just hiding that erection.
Oh, Cole.
Yeah, but speaking, where's Cole, big Cole Jenkins beat Reaver as well. That's impressive. So as Reaver was somebody to beat back in the day.
Yeah.
Then we have next up Maximum Violence. Somebody I recently faced and lost to. So.
I'm enjoying Maximum Violence a lot.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah, and he is one of the. I believe Maximum Violence. He signed up for MWA a couple of years ago, and did he stay? He didn't stay very long.
No.
And now he's back. He came back through an email sent out to everybody.
Oh, really? He came back from one of those, did he?
He came back through those emails to everybody, so he did. Because he came back around that time, and he has made an impact since coming back.
Definitely.
So he has, and we get a lot of characters in the MWA, but a lot of the handlers still stay the same, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
it's always nice when you get a new handler.
Yeah, it brings something fresh to the MWA, brings a new perspective to storylines and things like that. And Maximum Violence has definitely been somebody who I've been keeping an eye on.
I think he can really do something in the next year.
I could see him giving Pynix going after, or even Moto beats Pynix.
Oh yeah, can you imagine that? That would be really good.
At the same time, Steve Pynix, regardless of he's champion or not, will always be at the top of the MWA. But there will be other feuds, top feuds as well as that will headline MWA and deservingly so. And Nanamoto versus Maximum Violence is something I could see happening the MWA, and maybe this time next year we could be talking about them two. And then we have Rising Star Carolyn Baker. She already is a star, so she is. So,
yeah, I'm not sure why she was nominated. I mean, I love the crap out of her, but
I think it's more because Carolyn Baker she was away for a good 6 months and is only coming back. It's maybe a case for her being in that. So we have Brianna Lean as well as Rising Star, and if anybody deserved this award as well, Brianna Lean did for the way she went after Vivian Storm. So how do you feel about that?
I guess so. I kind of feel like maybe Maximum Violence would probably be my pick. But Jack Gaither as well. He would be a good pick for this award.
Jack Gaither is actually the next one on the list as well for Rising Star. And with Jack Gaither returning in 2012, I definitely, Nanamoto, Maximum Violence, Carolyn Baker, Jack Gaither, they have a real chance of upsetting the MWA old guard and making a new MWA, top stars in the MWA.
Yeah.
So some good ones to pick there from. So moment of the year now, and my God, we have quite a lot of moments. And until you yourself, Steve, and I went through the shows, moment of the year was actually quite lacking.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to remember. And who wants to look through all the shows when you come to nominations? You just try and remember off the top of your head.
Yeah. The first one is Gabe Gambino's heel turn, which we touched upon there.
Yes, that
was a good moment. Because I prefer heel Gabe to face.
Yep.
So
I agree with that.
Gabe's a lot more fun when he's heel. He's unpredictable.
Yeah.
So he is.
He's definitely the wild card.
Yeah. We've got, as we've already touched on many times, Brianna Lean victories over Vivian. So for moment of the year. We have now, this one it's a big moment, and God forgive me for saying this, it was a disappointing moment as well. But,
yeah.
The Barrett and the Lara brand reconciliation, I can understand why it was done, how it was done, but it is a big moment and it is a big event in the NWA. I just wasn't overly happy with how that fully went down.
I felt cheated. Let's be honest. Let's be honest here.
I was like, LOL, we just trolled you.
Yeah, it was. It was a massive troll. It was, because it was like, oh, the MWA's going to war.
Yeah.
Because we hate each other now.
Okay, the concept.
Really.
The concept behind it was good. That Barrett Brand was trying to weed out the ones who wanted to destroy the MWA, bring them forward. It was a good thing, but I think it was just. I know this was during the transitional period between Al leaving the MWA and Steve taking over, but it felt like a rush storyline just to get it over with.
Yeah, towards the end it did.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but what can you do?
Moment of the year, Glory Braddock is champion versus Steve Pynix from Rising Suns. That should actually be in match of the year, not moment of the year.
I believe she nominated it. But I think they mean, her, because I don't, let's be honest, no one gave Glory, everyone thought Steve was going to regain the title.
Yeah.
But Glory came out and was like, nope, and just pinned him, and it was shocking. And then that's when we needed to find a new number one contender. It's always good when you get a reboot of the main event scene like that, and that's basically what that moment was. It was just a big reboot, and it was the new people, because Steve is so old school. It was just the new MWA people taking center stage.
Speaking of Steve Pynix, another moment, Nanamoto beating Steve Pynix down there. That is actually, no offence, Kevin, when I say this, that was maybe even a bigger shock than Glory Braddock beating Steve Pynix.
Yeah, you're a big deal when it's when people are so surprised that you lose, that you get nominated for Moment of the Year, like when CJ beat him that one time.
Oh yes, that was.
People to this day still believe that Pynix threw that match.
No,
in and out of character.
Yeah. No, Steve, I don't see Steve ever doing that.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, if you've ever spoken to Steve, he would never throw a match. Let's just make that clear.
Another moment of the year, I'm actually nominated for Jason Talbot, Zombie Talbot returning from the Rising Suns. We had a lot of zombies in the NWA in 2011.
Benedict came back. I think he came back a little bit before you, didn't he? At the end of 2010.
Yeah. Ray returned, and I ended up taking out the Truth as well at the time, and it was to David Hawkins, I believe I had writing.
Yeah, he was Hawkins that way.
Talbot came back and attacked Hawkins, not out of hate, but to get him back to being the Truth.
I love the Truth.
Yeah, everybody knows. Well, not Jason Wright.
Not Jason Wright, but Jason Wright doesn't like anything that anybody else likes.
Yeah, but the one thing I will say about my return, whenever I took Jason Talbot off, it was actually one of these Skype conversations. It was whenever we did it back in old Tiny Shop, if you can remember.
Yeah.
I was talking to Jackie Sweets, and I was just saying, look, I might have ideas for Talbot, you know, I want to keep on going, but I've no more storylines. He says, well, why don't you just kill him at the cruise? I was like, you know, that's a good idea, and I always promised myself I would never return as Jason Talbot just for the sake of returning. I would only return if I had stories to tell as Jason Talbot.
Yeah.
And that's when I sat down, and it was a good 6-7 months I was away. And, you know, I was thinking of stories I wrote as Damien Snow for a while. And Jason Talbot returning at Rising Suns was actually a last minute thing. I'd actually planned not to bring Jason Talbot back until the next pay-per-view.
Mm.
Then I just decided, no, I've got this story fresh in my head now. If I don't do it now, it will have faded in 2-3 months' time.
Yeah.
But I think it did actually shock a few people, because I remember your reaction was like, oh my God, Talbot's back.
Yeah, because you kept saying to me, like, he's never coming back, he's never coming back. So I was like, okay, he's never coming back. And then he came back, and I was like, what?
Kind of like what you're doing to Oscar Casey at the moment.
People need to let go of Casey.
I loved Casey. So moving on anyway, where are we? Moment of the year, I nominated this just for simple OMG, it actually happened. Jason Wright gets a win at Nemesis.
Oh.
Say, fair credit to Jason Wright. He doesn't win many, but he keeps going, he keeps coming back, and he keeps going.
I love Jason Wright.
Yeah, he's
improved. I mean, let's remember back at the X.
For people unaware of the X, this is I actually met Fiona, Zach, Jason Wright. Who else was there from the under? Was it just us four?
He who shall not be named was there.
Oh yes. There was somebody else there as well.
I think Kevin was there, but he was kind of on the outside.
Kevin was a lurker, wasn't he?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah. Jason Wright. We all go back. I joined the XPWA in January 2006, and Jason Wright was actually one of my first feuds ever in e-fetting, and it was fun to work with him. And even to this day, you know, Jason Talbot and Jason Wright are still, you know, close in stories, and even with yourself and Jason Wright last had a run in MWA, he had a few things with Casey, and you know, Jason Wright, he doesn't win many, but when he does put in the effort, and I could see Jason Wright, if he ever returns full time and has a good idea, I could see Jason Wright going further.
Every time he comes back with a new idea, he's that much better, and he's on the cusp, I think. But
I feel sorry for Jason Wright, because not many know this. You know who Jason Wright's first match ever in the MWA was?
Pynex, wasn't it?
Steve Pynex, his second match.
Oh, that's right.
His second match was Sierra. His third match was Alan Saunders.
Yeah.
He was at the deep end. So
yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was put out there and just
he was thrown in. So, Jason Wright, if you're listening, we would like to see Jason Wright back. So come back. You have a lot of unfinished stories to tell. You know, all of us go back a long time with Jason Wright. Even with CJ, we go back to 2006 with CJ. So, you know, the next one up is Sampson announcing Sierra as special guest referee.
Now, I'm not ashamed to admit, because I talk to Steve Pynex a lot. He loves to tease little things. Like, he won't tell me everything. He'll always be like, oh, you got to keep reading. You got to wait. And he kept teasing. He was like, oh, yeah, I'm thinking about special guest referee. And I was like, oh, that should be interesting. La, la, la. And he's like, yeah, I've got someone in mind, but we'll see if it works out. And then when I opened the show, I couldn't believe it was Sierra. And I marked out.
I was actually about to say that. You mark out, you know, the term mark out is associated with real wrestling. And we don't mark out that often in real wrestling anymore.
No.
I did at the weekend there, so I did, but I tend to mark out a lot more in the MWA than I do at WWE or well, only WWE. I don't watch any other wrestling anymore. So I don't, but that Sierra return was really a mark-out moment.
That it literally put a smile on my face. I was like,
Yeah,
I can't believe he pulled her back in like that, and it was
yeah. So, and
that.
that at the end, as we've already touched on, Sierra taking the belt, refusing to give it back to Steve, and then whispering to Steve,
Mm,
Steve, we need to know what Sierra said. Please tell us. And I think it's hopefully setting up down the line Sierra returning.
I would like to see that as well.
So the this is nominated, but I think it ties into the same thing. Gambino's speech at the end of Revolutions declaring war. That was his heel turn, but it was a great speech.
Yeah.
So it was, so we've already touched on that. Um, Moment of the year, the last nomination is. Oh, sorry, we've got Jackie Sweet stepping up to replace Tim Worthington in the first battle for MWA against Dan Devine, and Devine took Worthington out at the start of Nemesis.
Good old Jackie.
Yeah, that was kind of a old school throwback. I'm here, I'm stepping up for the MWA when it's needed. And it was a lovely fitting moment to see. So, because I know Jackie's moved on now, he's in character, Jackie's still about, but as a handler, Jackie's not very active anymore.
Yeah.
So it's good to see.
And if people remember, Jackie Sweets and Dan Devine have a lot of history. Like
So,
when Devine first came back, he had like a succession of matches against Jackie. It
yeah,
was like 3 or 4 of them. They would wrestle and wrestle and wrestle.
right.
So that was good to see that kind of renewed a little bit, even if it was just in story and it wasn't really in role plays.
There are quite a lot of old school ones I would like to see back with Jackie Sweet, Sierra. I know
Logan.
Logan, yeah. Isn't he in jail for being part of the Italian Mafia, or was that the truth rumor?
I think that was a truth rumor, but
Yeah,
for all I know, that's where he could be. And of course, we want Cooch back, but
yeah, I see Mike signing on the messenger and signing off from time to time. So
yeah.
Mike is one person. He left before me and Mike, Cut's character, we're both from Northern Ireland, and we touched on that a couple of times. But Cut's from the Catholic side of Northern Ireland, I was from the Protestant side. We touched on that a few times, but I wish we could have made a full feud out of that, because it would have been something close to home. It would have made it personal, and it would have been a great feud.
Yeah.
So it would have, So, Mike, if you're listening to this, please come back. Jackie, come on, bring the old guard back. I know the MWA, we've got so many for the future now, like Nana and all, but it would be great to see some of the old ones back. And speaking of Nana, the last moment is Nana winning the #1 contenders tournament.
Which was well deserved, really.
It was a shock as well, no offence to Kevin. I did actually think Glory would have won that. Whenever I first seen the brackets, I actually thought Glory would have been the one to win it, given Glory's history. But Minamoto soldiered on, did well, and won it.
I mean, it was like that #1. It was like that. Was it a #1 contenders? But the other tournament we had ages back.
Oh, that would have been 2009, 2010.
When the brackets were drawn up and people were automatically like, oh, the final's going to be Pinex versus Casey.
Yes.
And I was like, we've got like a whole bunch of matches to go through. Stop being an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, in a way I did actually think, same situation in this, Glory Braddock's going to win this, and she didn't. And Kevin rightfully deserved to win that. His role plays were brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
So they are.
He has a very different style, and some people don't get it, but I enjoy reading his stuff a lot.
Yeah, it's something different and something unique. So 2012 should be their year. Maximum Violence. We've already talked about him.
Yes.
Definitely. This guy is. I'm predicting a world title reign for Max Violence before the end of 2012.
That is an excellent prediction.
Yes. Carolyn Baker, 2012. That's another one.
Again, yep, I can see that happening.
Carolyn has never held the world title. And
yep. She hasn't held the Heritage, I don't believe. She's multiple Millennium Champion, multiple Tag Team Champion.
Because I actually beat Carolyn CJ for the tag titles, I believe. So it was Neva's backyard mini feud whenever she was teaming with CJ Osborne as a face. Now, Carolyn definitely has the potential to win the world title. And it's actually one of the shocks that she hasn't already. You know, she had a match with Steve earlier this year, and it was a good match, and she came up. Steve Phoenix 2012 should be their year. 2011 was Steve Phoenix's year. So
any year can be Steve Phoenix's year.
Yeah.
That kind of talent.
Yeah, that's true. Glory Braddock also could be if Glory Braddock
Wow,
around.
She sticks around, that can happen.
I would love to see Glory stick around. Brianna Lee, yeah, we've got Brianna Lee, who is on the shelf now. 2012 could be their year.
I don't know. Maybe she'll come back. I haven't decided. I mean, I could bring back Cole Jenkins, or for now I'm sticking with Josh Reed. So we'll see.
You know, you're almost as bad as Zach at times with that. I remember Zach trolling years ago saying, "Is Lee never going to return? Who knows? Maybe I could return next show. Maybe I won't."
Well, I'm not. It's other people that, because like every time I post in the show thread, you think I'm talking about Casey because of my.
Yeah, and then
let it go, Jason. Just let it go. It's over.
Casey's dead. Okay. 2012, Vivian Storm. Do you see MJ returning as Vivian Storm as a writer?
I know she's busy, like she's crazy busy right now. I can see her coming back at some time.
Okay. So
and if she does, then stand back. That could easily happen.
Yeah, Vivian is somebody I enjoy reading. I enjoyed her matches. So
she still, whenever Steve writes Vivian in his role plays, she still like has a hand in that.
And you know something, that is actually great. It's keeping the character still relevant.
Yep.
So when she comes back, it's not like she's starting cold again. There is something there to build upon. And that's another thing, going back to what I said earlier between Steve and Vivian, the connection they have. You know, they work so well. And lastly, 2012 should be their year. Jack Gafier.
Riding on his roller coaster all the way.
Maybe he'll get a new roller coaster in 2012.
Maybe he will.
Or, metaphorically, the MWA could be his roller coaster.
Dude, don't even...
Well, I did hear from Greg that he's endorsing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3000 still. Yeah. Glass Ceiling Award would be maximum violence again.
Glass Ceiling is someone who propelled themselves to the next level.
Yeah, he definitely did that. So he did. So he came in as a unknown, as a rookie, if you want to say.
Well, MWA rookie at least.
Yeah, and took it by storm. Nanamoto's there as well for Glass Ceiling, which is true.
Defeated Steve Pionex and winning the #1 contendership propels her into the main event. Like she's a main event staple now, I would say.
Yeah, Glory Braddock, Glass Ceiling. I would say yes, because although Glory was there beforehand, her biggest impact would have been this year.
Let's put it this way: when Matt came back with Glory, Glory had I think 2, maybe 3 matches before she won the world title.
Yeah.
And then not only did she win the world title, but she beat Steve Pionex and held the world title for like several months.
Yeah, that is impressive.
And if that's not breaking the glass ceiling, I'm pretty sure I don't know what is.
And she had quite a lot of successful defences of that world title too.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I think she had a couple.
Glass Ceiling Award then Brianna Lee again.
Beating Vivian Storm, I assume.
Yeah, it definitely was an achievement. And again, Jack Gafier.
Beating Nanamoto for the Heritage, I can see that.
Yeah. So, final category we have today is Hall of Fame.
Which is looking kind of bare, let's be honest.
We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 9 nominees this year. Jackie Sweets, Jonah Cherry, George Swanson, Blaze, Dante, CJ Osborne, Dan Devine, and Jim Kennedy. So out of those two, I would say Jackie Sweets and Jim Kennedy mostly.
Jackie Sweets should have been in last year.
Yes.
Somehow we all forgot about him. I think someone messed with our minds.
I don't know how Jackie, even beforehand wasn't. Maybe it was the.
Well, he only just retired. Like when everyone else left, he'd left.
Yes, well, that's true. But Jackie should have been in it this year, and not trying to sway the votes. He should be in it this year.
He better be in it this year, otherwise I'm going to go around and start punching some people in the face.
Jim Kennedy as well.
He was a nomination I made. Reading through the shows, he moved from the commentating table to backstage, and even though he's not a character anyone actually writes for, he is a big part of the MWA, and he has been for years. He's been the commentator for a long, I think since the beginning, I believe.
Well, we normally have inductions for the Hall of Fame, don't we?
I don't know if we should be inducting 4 people.
Who, if there was 4, who would you see as the R2 going in?
See,
yeah, it's a hard one.
Dante, maybe. His claim to fame is, of course, the crucifixion of poor Mary Jane.
Oh, poor MJ. She took it so well too.
Well, didn't she almost die? But let's be honest, she was dating Blaze at the time, so maybe, and then she figured out that Blaze was an idiot after that, so maybe that was a good thing.
We are talking about Blaze, the character, right?
Oh yeah. No.
Okay.
Fair enough. I don't think she was dating him in real life.
Yeah, well,
no, it's not a Trin and LJ story.
No. Yeah, Josh Swanson, he was somebody who was touted last year and just missed out.
He's been nominated every year that I've been here, I believe. That's a Swanee character that I believe won the world title, and he killed him off when he did.
Ooh, what a way to go out. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't really know a lot about him.
Yeah,
I know a lot of the old school MWA people would say he deserves to be in there.
Yeah, that's the same with Jonah Cherry as Josh Swanson. Don't see him too much about the boards anymore, either of them.
I believe Jonah Cherry won the first ever Any Given Night.
Really?
I think that's true.
Would have to check that out. So maybe some of the old schoolers, well, I say old schoolers, we've been there since 2006, like 5 years now. So, they would be before my time. CJ Osborne, quite a big contribution in character this year.
He's won the World Championship.
Yeah.
I don't think he won. Did he win the Heritage? I don't think so.
No, this is an ongoing thing between CJ and I. We are both one title when off a Grand Slam. I need the world title, CJ needs the Heritage. And kind of if CJ ever came back whenever he was active, kind of who's going to do it first, and it's always been the rivalry between us. So lastly, Dan Devine.
He has had a couple of world title reigns. Notable feuds with Steve Pimex.
Jackie Sweets, as we said earlier.
Jackie Sweets, yeah. He's a character that's very compelling.
Yeah, I would agree there. So, Blaze is the last one. Trying to think what Blaze has done apart from lose to every woman he's ever faced.
Yeah, I think he won Heritage.
Yeah.
He never won the world title, I remember that.
Because Blaze was kind of leaving as I was entering.
Yeah.
So it was, so I don't even see Blaze about much anymore.
No.
So, anyway, I think that's everything for today. So that's every category. It's now in the voters' hands. So it is.
I'm not sure when I think the nominations are still open until the end of this battle zone, maybe, I think.
Yeah.
What did Steve say? I think he put it in the topic.
Speaking of this week's battle zone, quite a treat for everybody this week.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
We have literally gone through all the shows to pick up the moments of the year. So the Battle Zone this week will be a review of 2011.
Not just a review though, we've got maybe a future World Championship match where Steve fights against Maximum Violence.
Maximum Violence and a couple of Turmoil matches, I believe.
Yes, the Turmoil's going into, well, it's in the semi-final stage, the 6-man ladder match at Rising Suns, which I'm revealing now. I think it was actually mentioned in one of the Turmoil ones, but the Turmoil's final for the title is due to be ladder match at Rising Suns.
Interesting.
So,
and of course, any segments that you guys will want to send in, get into Steve. I've already sent one in. How about you, Tower? Have you sent any?
I'm working on the Turmoil stuff at the moment, so it's
okay. I'll let you off then.
Yeah, I've actually a couple of segments in mind, so do.
But yeah, Steve says that nominations for the awards this year are open until Battle Zone. So if you have any more ideas, people you want to nominate, like especially for Hall of Flame cast, I kind of feel like that is a club.
Yeah. But to be honest, nominate though everybody who's in, with the exception, everybody who deserves to be in, with the exception of Sweets, is in.
Well, that's why we need other people's opinions, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe forgotten, I'm not sure, but
maybe we should just induct Roadkill. Yeah, who was Roadkill? Was it a Dante character or?
No, I think it's someone who tried to roleplay and then wasn't. I don't really know, but I think they just kind of stole the character.
Yeah, interesting. So, I think that's everything from us today, unless you have anything you want to add.
That was it?
Yeah, it's just a shame we couldn't get Greg in here.
Well, Greg doesn't know anything about the MWA anymore.
True. Even though he hosts a place, yet doesn't have a clue about it.
We should bring him in just next time just to say witty things.
Yeah, that's true. Him and Dan Devine, that would be interesting.
And Steve Hynex.
Oh, that would be brilliant. So,
but yeah, we'll see.
But just to shout out to anybody who wants to join us on Skype, it is good fun. You might even get to hear Greg rage quit when playing Battlefield. That's funny.
Throwing his controller. But I'm sad my PlayStation's dead, so...
Yeah, it's fun. But we do have some amount of laughs on Skype. We haven't had anybody come in and say, fuck you all and fuck the MWA. Shout out to LJ there. Thank you for that one.
Yeah, so, you're always remembered for that.
That is one... That could have gone down as moment of the year.
Yeah, definitely. Out of character moment of the year.
If you ever had out of character awards, that would definitely be, well, moment of the decade. So that was... what was actually at the beginning of our tiny chat, Skype chats, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was when, there was a bunch of us around then. But yeah, there's a thread, I think it's in Out of Character.
I think it is, yes.
Where it's, hang on, I think it's a sticky, is it?
I'm not too sure. I'm on the site now.
Yeah, it's a sticky in Out of Character called MWA Official Tiny Chat that's been progressed into Skype. But
yeah.
Just put a message in there and, join up with us.
Yeah, even though Matt has said he's reluctant to join us, he should join us sometime.
Why is he so reluctant? He used to be in Chinatown.
He did. He's just saying last post was actually last June, actually. I'm stubborn and set in my ways. I refuse to change. So, you never know. Maybe we'll get Matt in as well. So, the last post on that was actually in October, and we were talking about scary movies and ghost stories. And I believe that was with Dan.
Yeah, it was with Dan.
Yeah, that was a great chat. So it was. So, yeah, I think that's everything from us. So
we're kind of rambling now.
We are kind of rambling.
We need a way to end it. So you ready? Just say the end, and that will be the end.
The end, and tune in 2012, because it'll be a great year.
That was really cheesy, but the end.
That was. The end.